Righty, we're going to go ahead and get started. By my watch or by my phone, it's 2 minutes after the top of the hour. So, hello and welcome for those in attendance today. We are here to present a really cool topic: Jira Service Management, the ultimate solution for next level service delivery. And what we're going to do today is talk about all the different features inside of JSM, how they can be integrated into the way that organizations work, and maybe some of the key features and takeaways that you can take from usage of JSM. My name is Michael Roberts. I'm a Vice President of Sales and Marketing at SPK and Associates, and I'm here with Carlos. Carlos, you want to introduce yourself?
There we go. Fiddling around with Zoom is always fun. Hi, I'm Carlos Almeida, VP of Engineering at SPK and Associates. Looking forward to having some fun today talking about JSM and all the exciting things you guys can do with it.
Cool. Thanks, Carlos. So before we get into it, just to give a little bit of context on who we are a gold solution partner, SPK and Associates. We've been around 21 years. April next year will be our 22nd year in business. We do a lot of different things, but one of the core things that we do is that we are focused on helping customers get their products to market more quickly and all the processes and tools and things that help support that. And thus, we've partnered with a lot of software companies that are providing best-in-class applications, including Atlassian, more specifically JSM. So today we're going to talk about JSM and all the different features. From an agenda perspective, there's a couple really core components of Jira Service Management that we'll walk through. And that really comes down to the customer experience, how you can organize, prioritize, and manage the workloads inside of JSM, including setting and tracking service level agreements, which is one of the core components of JSM. We'll also talk about assets and configuration items inside of JSM and managing it there, along with what Carlos and I think we would agree that are some of the most important parts of JSM, which are the customized workflows and the custom automations that you can build with a low code, no code builder. And then hopefully we'll get to the point where we have some questions at the end for those of you in attendance today. So for those not aware, to kick things off, I'd like to talk just a little bit about Atlassian. If you're not familiar, so from the time they were founded in 2002, they've grown to over 8,000 employees in 12 global offices, offering a lot of different products, and most of them are focused on originally were software and IT products, and that has kind of morphed to lots of other departments over the years. They also have over 5,000 marketplace applications. So these are applications built by third parties that are not Atlassian, that integrate with Atlassian products and do really cool additional extend the features of JSM. One of the flagship products of Atlassian is Jira Service Management. So today, Atlassian has over 45,000 customers that trust JSM, from carbon neutral broadband networks to cutting edge biotech companies to some of the oldest manufacturers in the world. Those are the companies that trust JSM. And it's really not just the customers that are trusting JSM too. It's also recognized by industry analysts, including Gartner Research. They named Atlassian as a leader in the Magic Quadrant for ITSM and the fastest growing product in that evaluation. And then Forrester Research also named Atlassian a leader in their Wave report for enterprise service management, looking at the potential for service management practices to empower teams across business, not just IT. So, and we will talk about how JSM really spans the entire organization here today. Not only development teams and integration with Jira software to be able to track and record bugs that customers may find and track them to software issues and be able to track that through the system, but also ITSM and supporting internal and external customer bases, along with other business teams. And we're really going to get into that here in a second. So really, service management is not just for IT. Service management can apply to any business team like HR, legal, facilities. And the goal of it is to streamline the incoming work and be able to organize it in a fashion that customers appreciate. So JSM empowers every team to set up their own service desk quickly while standardizing across the organization. So now every team can really deliver great customer service experiences really fast without the complexity of a traditional big time, big bloated ITSM solution. In our experience, JSM tends to spread organically across the organization. Often, IT is the first one to adopt a solution like this, but then other business teams, as they start to interact with that service desk, they request their own service desk for their own teams, like, as I mentioned, HR, facilities, legal. And then this solution gives you really an easy way to expand that use case into almost any type of scenario. As I mentioned, we did talk facilities, but procurement, security, any type of component in the organization will probably have a need for a service desk at some point. And although there are a lot of different components to JSM, in this webinar, we actually want to focus on these six. We believe these are the ones that really take JSM to the next level. So Carlos, let's start with the customer portal and kind of work our way from there and how that builds value for users and agents. So let's start with the customer portal.
Absolutely. Thank you, Michael. So the first impression of your help desk is usually your customer portal. It's where your employees or customers go to troubleshoot, submit requests, and view the list of services that your organization offers. With JSM, users could start with search results, which are powered by machine learning, and intelligently recommend a selection of relevant, that's important, request types and knowledge-based articles. Underneath the hood, it leverages Atlassian's Smarts capability, which is their AI-driven search technology. This is what learns what users are searching for. So over time, it gets better and better at getting the right request types across all your service desks. That means users get a personalized search experience and are presented with the most relevant documents specifically for them. Users are also presented with the option to self-serve or fix their own issues through the integrated knowledge base, thereby hopefully deflecting the need to create a ticket. If a ticket is created, your customers then have the ability to track the status of the request and communicate back to service agent. From the agent side, the portal provides a place to manage all your issues and user-reported incidents. They can leverage the knowledge base for solutions and track their progress with customizable SLAs and easily communicate back and forth with the customers. The agents also can quickly escalate any major incident with the onboard, on-call Opsgenie solution. So with this integrated capability, you really can fully tie in all of the issues and get immediate response. And then for branding, for look and feel, you can do all kinds of cool things with the portal itself. You can customize the colors and brandings and logos and things like that to really make it align with your organization's look and feel. Next slide. So let's talk a little bit about conversation or conversational ticketing. JSM offers this, which is really the future trend for all support, good support ticketing services. 65% of Fortune 500 companies are currently using it. So what is it? Conversational ticketing is essentially having your ticket generation updating directly integrated into your chat-based channels like Slack and Microsoft Teams. Could you, next slide? So the main benefit is that conversational ticketing greatly speeds things up. It humanizes the process by allowing you to create the ticket as part of your conversation. So while you're thinking and discussing the problem with your peers, you can immediately create the ticket, locate tickets, look up statuses of ticket. It really just humanizes the whole process and makes responses much more fluid and easy. Next slide. So let's talk about empowering your team to streamline work. It should be really easy for any team, whether it's IT or HR or legal, to spin up their own service desk and streamline their work. With Jira Service Management, teams can easily configure and manage their own request forms, queues, and SLAs with out-of-the-box workflows and no code, I'll emphasize no code automation rules, which makes it easy. Built on the Jira platform, Jira Service Management makes it really easy to link requests also into software-related projects like your backlog or your sprints. All of that DevOps stuff is tied right in the back end. It's really slick. And then also you have access into JSM assets, which allows you to tie in your assets and configuration items directly into your solution in one portal, one database. It makes it much easier to tie the two things together. And then JSM's SLA features are really powerful for you to ensure that you're meeting your service commitments effectively. You can set up tailored policies. You can track your time to resolution, first time to response, making sure transparency and accountability in your service processes are measured. You can generate reports on these things that are not just static, but real-time dashboards. All these things really help you maintain a high level of service and help improve your customer satisfaction. You could also take advantage of forms, right? You don't have to generate something from scratch. You can take the form as is or extend it with Atlassian's flexible no-code form builder. The form builder supports a huge range of various field types, along with several ways to validate the information captured. It also includes dynamic field selection, allowing you to build logic into the form, which changes the flow of the form based on the responses. So it learns, meaning you capture the most relevant information. Let's talk about sharing the knowledge, right? This, we're going to talk about Confluence here because Confluence solves your knowledge management biggest challenge by helping you tap into the wisdom that your organization already has. So Atlassian's Confluence with spaces and pages are a more efficient way of organizing your data rather than using file and folders like Google Docs or maybe Microsoft SharePoint. It's everything is available for you to take and use and reuse. With all your information in one place, your team has quick access to your company's knowledge, and you have a real easy time organizing, managing, and searching for documents. Now let's sweeten the pot by adding some AI into the mix. With AI, you can automatically generate your page titles and summaries. You can get right to the point by shortening your written work, and you can suggest quality improvements. This is leveraging your knowledge base that you've done the work here. Once you've linked your service desk project to your knowledge base, your articles now can be used to help you solve problems. So this improves your customer and agents experiencing by surfacing answers more quickly, in some cases without even having to ask for help, i.e. self-service. And then the last bit, relatively new offering. Atlassian has created this solution called Rovo. This is their AI-powered virtual assistant designed to enhance productivity and collaboration across various Atlassian products, including JSM. It introduces the concept of a Rovo agent, which is an AI virtual teammate that can automate repetitive tasks and complex processes with JSM. They can handle activities such as categorizing, prioritizing incoming service requests, drafting responses, updating records. So it really is like having another team member in your organization working for you. Next slide. Let's talk about improving service through continuous learning. Finally, JSM, you can build a culture of continuous learning with your team. You get out-of-the-box reports for key service metrics. You can generate CSAT data also out of the box. You can monitor, optimize, and share your team's work with custom dashboards. And you have advanced analytics and custom report customizations, which can also be tied into a huge marketplace that if you go out there and check it out, they have hundreds of different other tools that you can add on, apps that fold into your Power BI systems, for charts, for you name it, everything in there for reporting hours, for integrations with third-party tools. It's really so much stuff there. You're limited by your imagination amount of stuff you can do. It's really cool. Next slide. You also have capabilities into managing your assets and your configuration items. So essentially, out of the box, you have this federated CMDB that you can build. You can use its internal discovery tool to scrub your network and pull in and build up your CMDB, or you can tie into what you're using today. Maybe you have an Excel spreadsheet sitting somewhere that you have to maintain, or maybe you have some other tool that generates that. You can fold that in there and build this CMDB, which then you can tie back into your JSM ticket. So think about having to do something on a server that a ticket is raised on, and your agent immediately knows, oh, that server has these patches, is scheduled to be upgraded on this date, or whatever. So it really ties in both areas of your assets and your general support. Plus, you can take advantage of mobile connections to this, so you can walk around with your phone and see what's going on and do all of that work remotely. It's really nice. Next slide.
Your example there, Carlos, was really, I think, really cool because it's one of the more, popular scenarios of I have a ticket and the agent actually can see things about that asset or that thing. And as we've done engagements, I think the other thing that I've always thought was really cool was not only is there the discovery component of going and gathering information about servers and switches and laptops and all those things, but also you can use it to manage any number of things. Like you can manually put things in there, you can upload spreadsheets or all those things, and you can manage it at a different level for things that maybe you're managing in other ways too. So having all that data accessible inside of the ticket, or inside of something where somebody's trying to do work, they don't have to switch contexts to different systems or go look at something else. Like it's all right there, right at their fingertips. I think that's another really powerful thing about this whole asset CMDB component.
Absolutely. Thank you, Michael. So let's talk a little bit about automation. So we have a whole other website that Michael mentioned, or sorry, a webinar that we've did a deep dive on this, but we'll just touch into this a little bit to whet your appetite. So when it comes to approving changes, you can streamline your processes by using automation rules. This is already beyond the available capability of asserting approval requests at any point in your customizable workflow. In this example, you see uh, a standard change. So when this rule is fired, essentially you are presented with scores. You're able to see who needs to approve things. It does all of the math underneath it. So it's a very comprehensive set of logic that you can use to automate these sort of decisions that may have been done manually or with some other external tools. So it's all pulls it together. When the approvals are going off, it can either be done automatically on the spot based on your rules, but it also can be fired off to be sent to some specific individual that has all the data presented in one shot and allow them to have a one-click yes or no approval on that or provide feedback. And all this is also, I spent a lot of time in regulated industries, so it's near and dear to me that everything is traceable and good history is maintained, auditability is there. Your rules will also maintain that as part of the process that we have here. So a little bit more. So Atlassian has really expanded their out-of-box automation rules. Maybe in the past with server, you'd have to really rely on third-party apps like Script Runner and do most of your automation. You don't have to do that anymore. Those tools are still very valuable, but you are offered a lot with the out-of-the-box coming from Atlassian. So you don't have to start from scratch. There's a large library of templates and examples that you can play with. I always tell anyone who's getting into this space, create a sandbox. You don't want to do this in your production area. And then start playing, create some automation rules, start seeing what you can do. SBK has done a ton of things with automating HR, onboarding, offboarding, work with marketing automation, work with DevOps automation, you name it, change control, risk management. Anything that you're doing, repeated tasks can be automated. And it's there. And if you need help, we're available to help you implement that. So even a little bit more in there. So an automation is really broken up by three pieces. You have a trigger, which is your when something happens. You have your condition, which is the if part of your rule, and then you have your action, which is then do something, right? So again, no coding. You can do this immediately and play with it. You just simply combine these two components and build the rule that you want. Again, you have a lot of examples to play with and highly recommend you do that. And there's other examples out online that you can find to help you get going on it. Next slide. So a little bit more. So the first piece here is the trigger. There are many types of triggers. The obvious ones are everything to do with your Jira issue tracking or Jira issue, but there are some really cool other ones that I like to use, especially in the world of DevOps. Do something when you create a branch, or do something when a commit or a pull request is done. Anything tying back to your Bitbucket or GitLab or GitHub repo. There are other triggers that can also incorporate webhooks, which is great if you're going to integrate with some external system. So really allows you to scale this solution externally. Um, and again, back in the DevOps, there are triggers that deal with release management, like when a release version is created or updated, based off a sprint transition. And then again, all of the stuff that is associated with asset management, and it's growing. And additionally, there's all these sort of things in the Confluence space as well, whether it's approval of spaces or pages or automatically putting titles in place. So Atlassian is just growing and growing in the automation part for its tools, and that's really cool. And then the condition, again, just for completeness, when you want to create a rule, you need to have some conditions potentially. So you have all of the normal things that you expect here, if then else. You also have something else that I like to use, which is smart fields. So if you have played at all with Atlassian's variables, you can get to any variable in the system and essentially blow those out and create really complex algorithms to whatever you need. So it really is expandable. Also leveraging all the RESTful AI, or sorry, RESTful services with AI, RESTful services to your rules itself. So you really can build almost anything. Next step. Oh, did I skip my actions? Anyway,
Nope. There you go. Sorry. There you go.
yeah, the actions were essentially this is your payload, right? I finally, if when this happens, then this condition then do stuff. So the do stuff here is everything you would expect. Probably the most popular ones that we have is either creating issues or subtasks. Great for building pipeline of activities. So anything you can imagine, you can automate in terms of building out your various things, and then you could track everyone. Also mention the DevOps activities like creating a sprint or changing a release version. Um, and so this is very powerful. You also have internal branches. So it's kind of like a for loop. So you have that sort of like when this happens, do all these things for all my issue types or branches or any other area that you're focused on. So definitely encourage you to go out and play with it. And again, check out our webinar where I spend a lot more detailed time talking about this.
Yeah. One more addition to that, because you mentioned like the DevOps side and a little bit of the IT components. So another like business use case here for like an HR, facilities, legal, marketing. If you have repeatable work that you do, you can create those automations to create very specific, because you can do triggers based upon other fields. If you're onboarding a person and they're in sales, do these set of tasks. If they're in delivery, do these set of tasks. If they're in facilities, do these set of tasks. So you can really customize that based upon this component and those, as you mentioned, those smart fields, because you have access to all the other fields that are in that system. In the event that you're interested in more automation conversation and the workflow component that Carlos was talking about, we do have an on-demand webinar where we presented a little bit more in depth on what JSM capabilities have from this perspective. And so we'll also talk about this total economic impact study that Atlassian commissioned Forrester Consulting to do. So this is a value-based case framework, which really measured the related benefits, costs, and overall ROI for JSM, specifically in the ITSM realm. But I think that same thing could apply to other departments, other areas as well. And this asset is available on the SPK website. Now, I want to share just a little bit of the business outcomes that companies have received when JSM has been delivered well. So one company that had over 167,000 employees across 70 countries implemented JSM. They replaced ServiceNow. And then prior to this, they used Jira software for development and they used ServiceNow for ITSM. And in their own words, it meant dealing really with two different systems, and it was quite painful. In addition to cutting the cost by 70% for the first year alone, they were able to get up and running in just a few weeks. So this is not a massive forklift year to make a change kind of solution. Another company saw a decrease of 90% in the number of inbound email requests that they received because they utilized the knowledge base and Confluence to help customers start self-serving. So that reduced, obviously a lot of inbound work that they had to do. And then lastly, a client saw a 30% reduction in projects without having to add a 30% increase in projects they were able to do without adding additional staff. And this was all because they were able to create those automations and got the benefits out of that self-service portal, which reduced a lot of manual work. So as you can see, just from a business case perspective, there's a lot of value from JSM. Just looking to summarize what we've talked about today, Atlassian's approach to service management puts development, IT, and other business teams like marketing and HR in a unified platform for better collaboration. So any team can respond to changes in business and deliver great customer and employee experiences, and hopefully do that really fast. JSM is is at the heart of what Atlassian does from a service management perspective. And it also is what I would consider an enterprise tool that really unifies and opens up work across organizations. Now, that's a little bit on JSM. Just a touch on SPK before we close things out. We work in a lot of different industries and across a lot of different tool sets. And these are basically the four pillars of services that SPK provides. And really, what we talked about with JSM today, this touches on several different areas. Number one, that software lifecycle management, helping customers deliver better software more quickly, and that whole DevOps process that Carlos had referenced. But it also touches on really any area of any part of the company, which really gets to all four of these areas. We are working in a cloud environment here with Atlassian Cloud. There's a ton of data for reporting purposes, as Carlos mentioned, on the reporting and Power BI and all those things kind of fit in that data engineering and data analytics practice. And given that companies are potentially producing a physical product as well, it does touch the PLM components, and there are integrations with a ton of other solutions. So the data that's inside of JSM doesn't have to solely sit there. It can actually be synced with other systems as well. So Carlos, thanks for your time. We will open it up to questions. Any other last parting words or parting items?
Thank you, Michael. I look forward to hearing any questions, and we can be reached also externally. You can reach out. Michael will provide the information. Looking forward to helping you guys.
So we have one in the chat. How does security play into the AI portion of JSM?
That's a good one because that's a very common question. Anybody doing AI anywhere, that's probably the fundamental starting point, or maybe sometimes it's an obstacle unless they have their ducks in a row. So Atlassian follows a really, they didn't roll out their AI haphazardly. They spent a lot of time focusing on the regulatory needs behind it, whether it's SOC or GDPR or CCPA. So they're covering all the data encryption things, but in particular, they spent a lot of time on their access and roles and what is going to be the knowledge base and what is used to train the AI itself. So with them, they have ability to isolate and control all the data that the AI is trained on, and the customer, you guys have absolute fine-grained control of. First of all, no one else gets that data. It doesn't go out to ChatGPT. It's your own area. And then what is exposed, because the agent may have a certain thing you want the knowledge base to be surfaced from AI, and your customer may also have a certain thing that you want to filter out what goes out. So you have fine-grained control on how the AI presents the data and manage it. And so those are like the big items,
Yeah.
and they've done a good job.
Yeah, and there is a published approach that Atlassian has for, this kind of area of trust related to large language models. And I believe it's Atlassian.com/trust. Don't quote me on that, but I think that's their trust center, which talks about exactly what you're talking about, Clarence or Carlos. So thank you.
I can go by Clarence too.
You can
Sorry.
go with Clarence. All right, we'll just change names. We have another one in the chat. So JSM can be customized to meet the specific needs of both internal teams and external customer support? Question mark.
Well, absolutely. It really is different because well, we hit a few of these in the conversation. Let's start with your portal, right? You want to show certain things into the external portal. Portals themselves can be also segregated, and then you could allow customers to have to sign on, and then they could be a certain set of customers that will see a certain set of data. So there is quite a bit from the front end, right? On the agent side, we talked about everything from dynamic workflows, custom fields, automation, rules that you can create, the whole knowledge base integration, the customized SLA, and role-based permissions. There's so much there that it really can be tailored for your internal agents to do what it needs to do. And your customers internally can get a different set of things presented to them based on their issues and based on their needs. So it's very customizable.
Gotcha. Yeah. The more portals, sometimes the better. So yeah. Good question. I have another one. What are the key differences in setting up Jira Service Management versus other common tools for ITSM? Is it more difficult, easier?
Well, I've seen a lot of different tools out there. You guys know probably the bigger competitors. Atlassian's JSM is up there in the top to the right in terms of Forrester's rankings. And some of those metrics that they use, as well as we use it as we work with our customers. First, ease of use, right? It's got to be built where it's an intuitive model. I think other tools are often more complex. That's what I've seen out there. So Atlassian's done a lot of work in basically making it feel like you don't need a lot of training to use it. You can really get up and running.
Intuitive. Yeah.
And then customization, GISM is highly customizable. We'll have to hit that again. You heard me say it. Other tools are often stuck on more rigid templates or require some scripting for that customization. So with the no coding or low coding options that you have, you can really extend the ITSM solution within JSM. And then integration, this is also a big one, we like to say Atlassian, everything you can imagine is solved within the Atlassian world. That's not reality. There are going to be other tools out there that you integrate with, that you need to have a seamless data stream. So Atlassian has a really rich ecosystem with tools that to integrate with and third-party apps. So other tools, sometimes there's some brick walls around them and you can't really connect the dots as much as you want. And then ultimately for me, what I've seen is cost and scalability. Starting up in JSM is a pretty, out of the box, you get a lot of what you need for your organization. And they have projects that are designed to tailor for all kinds of use cases. Michael mentioned HR. Michael mentioned other areas in the business. There are projects that Atlassian's created that says, "Oh, you're building this up. Here's a template that you can spin up a project, and all of what you would expect in terms of the workflows, the rules, fields, the portal, the look and feel of the forms, all of those things are already built, so you can hit the ground running, and that just makes it easier to start and scale up. So I think it's lower cost and the adoption barrier is lower overall to actually get it and go live with your organization.
Yeah. Agreed. If I can set up automations, pretty much anybody should be able to with that that no code environment. Cool. Thanks, Carlos. I don't see any more questions in the chat, so I guess we'll say goodbye for now. Thanks again, Carlos, for your time and for educating us on some of the areas of JSM that could produce a really good service delivery group. For those of you who are looking for the recording for this, we'll actually be sending that to you in email in the next 10 business days, probably sooner, but we definitely guarantee 10. And I think that's it for now. Thanks for joining, and we look forward to seeing you next time at a future SPK and Associates webinar. Thanks.
Thanks.